off like flower do. Sure, I know that your stem has a story.
Hi, I'm Effie Barker. We are right here in downtown. When you say we're not going away with these issues, what are those issues? Good evening. Welcome to the special edition of I'm Effie Barker. Right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. Our guest for today, as I've introduced earlier, is originated from Oceanside in California, now living in Wiltshire, which actually I just realized that they are close to Gloucester. That's how you
Yes.
say it, Gloucester. Welcome back, Anna. Miss Anna Pierce.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Right. So I was saying earlier before we had a break, would like to know about your life when you were already here in the UK, with everything that you had experienced. Um, so far as you've told us, it was more of um, really a good thing. I think that being American, because they probably thought like, oh, here's an American. She's my friend now. But
Yeah, I think
mm,
so.
yeah.
Um, Work-wise though, like what you're saying, I mean it's difficult trying to get your foot in the door, isn't it? I think um we're we're taught to do CVs completely differently, and unless you really know or have any connections, it's difficult to get your foot in the door. Yeah, so, and not only as a Californian or an American, but also as a woman, I think. I mean, I know firsthand there was a position that I tried to go for in a bank, and I wasn't first choice based on the fact that I was a woman, that I had just been married, and that I was looking to have family in the future. Um, which is really sad, isn't it? So somebody else got the position, and they were a man. So
Mm.
there's that.
Was it hard for you to get a job? Did you have difficulty getting a job?
No, because of the connections I had. In the end, it's always been, I've always been lucky, and I've always had people around with, friends and connections, so that I could get a job.
Mm.
But when I was looking, I mean, that was a big deal for me. Um,
Yeah.
it was hardship, really. Made me feel inadequate of being an American woman, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is the best thing that the UK had given you?
The best thing, um, peace of mind of bringing up my kids.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, I think, yeah. That's the one thing. I feel like because we're so secluded and in such a small, area of the world, um, I feel like I'm bringing my children up in a nice little bubble.
Mm. What about the worst thing that the UK had given, if
Oh
there's any?
gosh. I wouldn't say it's the worst. I think it's a hard adjustment. I think the convenience of everything and knowing what I had, knowing the convenience of being able to, I could just go and grab whatever I wanted, and then having to kind of, I don't know about you, certain things, especially from back home, I can only find them through Amazon.
Mm.
So I suppose keeping the connection with my roots, that's probably the most difficult bit. And because I want my family to grow up knowing part of my roots also. So yeah, trying to keep the connection, I guess, has probably been the worst.
When you processed the papers, was it really difficult? Aside from the financial, how much it was, but was it difficult? Were they asking a lot from you, and what were they asking?
Um, I want to say again, we were quite lucky because we had somebody helping us. I mean, we paid for somebody to help us, like an expert solicitor in visas. Um, but gosh, they wanted to know everything about me, really. Previous jobs, where I'd lived. They were obviously all my documentation. Um, and then the biggest one I think was interactions between my husband and I to make sure that that we were a valid couple. We had a
Right.
screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a screenshot, messages that we would send each other. It was
Mhm.
it was quite invasive, I guess, if I can call it anything. Yeah.
So they asked they probably was looking for the legitimacy of the
Yeah.
relationships
Yeah. Yeah, of
conversation.
course. Yeah. Which I mean, to an extent I can understand, but
Mm.
still, it's invasive, isn't
A
it?
little bit
Yeah.
in the yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, probably just documents, probably lots and lots of documents that
Lots of documents. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Just
Did you have an interview?
yes, gosh, that was so long ago. Yeah, I had an interview. But it was all such a blur. It just went so quickly. Asked
Yeah.
me a few questions, and that was it. Yeah,
And then you got
gosh.
it.
And then I got in. Yeah.
Yippee!
Yeah.
Then were you excited?
That in itself, I think also, being American, we're quite lucky with that. I think that the process is less grueling because, you know, we're American citizens. I think
Correct.
that if we came from another country, it might not be so easy, I guess.
They don't realize that the things that we go through and the the fees that's involved that we need to
The
pay.
financial that we're bringing into the country, yeah, just by
Correct.
paying the fees alone.
Yeah, and in the NHS itself, it's not free for us. We pay.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah,
We
yeah.
paid. I paid it upfront, 1,500, I think.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be allowed the NHS unless, we were paying to come here, as opposed to, I don't know, back when I came, the European Union was still,
Hmm. Yeah.
we were still part of the European Union, and anybody could come from any
Yeah, other
part of
country.
Europe and start collecting from the
Exactly.
NHS or collecting
Yeah.
benefits even,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
as opposed to us,
Yeah.
we couldn't.
Yeah. But we go through as well, even though we're Americans, we still go through the same process as people coming from the Commonwealth or other countries. The
Oh
same
yeah.
process that we go through.
I think actually we've got it a little worse because we weren't part of the European Union. Like,
Correct.
I have friends from all over the place. I've got a friend who's from Lithuania and a friend who's from Poland, and they came here without an issue, and I had to, get my driver's license all over again.
Yeah. Tell us about your driver's license. You drive now. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
horrible. Yeah, I drive now. I was, gosh, I've been driving since I was, 16, going on 17. Um, I had my car since then, so never an issue. And then having to come to this country to kind of have to learn it all over again. Um, and getting my license wasn't so much of the issue. It was adjusting to the roundabouts. I think that was the worst for me.
How many times?
I was going to get there, or um, where I could purchase, I don't know, who knows whatever the case may be. It's difficult. Yeah.
Yes. And then when you're in that situation, and then the weather is not really helping.
Weather was yeah.
Yeah, you were sad, and then there's the gray skies.
Didn't
Yeah.
matter how many layers you put on, you're just still cold.
Right. And was there a point that you said, I don't like, I'm going back?
I think there were moments where I would tell myself, "What are you doing here?" Um, I mean, I knew since the beginning that I was making some type of sacrifice and compromise by moving here. So I always knew that in the back of my mind, that I had obviously chosen um, to be here. So it was never a case where I want I'm gonna go back, but more of a, What am I doing?"
Or actually, or maybe it was like, was it worth it? That you moved.
Um, I suppose everybody must question themselves. Is it worth it? Deep down inside, I think I know that that it was worth it. But you get overwhelmed with things to where you just think, is it worth it? But essentially it is, I think. Again, I think I'm just really open-minded and kind of relaxed in that sense. But yeah, it's always it's a struggle, isn't it? It's always a
Yes.
struggle. It's going to take a while for you to get used to it, for you to be able to call, someplace so different home. But haven't, I mean, it's going to be 14 years. I've went to I went back to California, but it's gonna be 2 years now, 2 Christmases ago.
Mm.
And I couldn't wait to come back. So I can finally say, I'm home.
Okay, that's good. So aside from
Yeah,
the sunshine, what are the things that you miss in California?
shopping.
Shopping.
Shopping. I miss Target. I miss Ross. I miss
Yeah,
Target. I miss
me
all
too.
those stores.
Marshalls. Uh,
Marshalls.
there's another one,
I
Nordstrom
do.
Rack.
Sorry?
Nordstrom Rack.
The Nordstrom Rack. Yes. Oh gosh, it's just
Mm.
it is. I mean, to go to Ross and grab yourself, an actual bargain, like a real bargain.
Correct. Yeah, it's not just I know. There's Tiki Master,
Just
but it's not
it's
just
not the same. It's definitely not the same. Yeah, so in that sense, yeah, I miss that. We miss certain foods. I definitely miss certain foods that are coming from. I mean, I've got I'm Mexican ethnically.
the real Mexican food.
Yes.
So what are the things that you wished the UK would have?
Oh gosh, lots of things. My family.
Mexican.
I wish I could somehow bring, I do wish, especially as you get older, um, there's nothing really in place for your family to come over. We're not very, in that sense, we're not, you can't just bring your parents over. So that's always a worry. They're just getting older. Um, it's having that sense of security towards that for them. Certain foods, obviously, nicer weather.
All right. So you miss home, you miss the real Mexican food.
Yeah. And not just Mexican food, but California fusion. I miss it. I
Yes.
miss all that. Yeah, and you can't really get that here. I mean, even if you go to London or the big places, it's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are the things if you were given a chance, what do you wish you had done differently?
Gosh, nothing. I wouldn't change a bit. No, I can't. I don't hold any. I don't hold anything. No, gosh, no. I think that it's a life well lived. Yeah, I don't think I'd do anything different.
Right. In terms of like how you did the process, how you did your move, was there anything that you wanted to do it differently?
Yes, I would probably be a little pickier on what I actually bring here because it's all circumstantial to what you actually think is important,
Mm.
at certain times. And in the end, I mean, a lot of things that I brought over, I think were not useful, really,
Mm.
and it just passes the time, and then you don't need them anymore. Yeah, so I would be probably pickier with what I brought over. Yeah.
Okay. And for those who are planning to move to the UK, they met someone in Facebook dating site or somewhere or in person, whatever they're thinking of moving here or is interested with the UK and thinking of moving here. What are the things that you would want to tell them?
Um, I mean, I think for me, it's been really easy and it's been very fairy tale like. But I would suggest in any relationship is really, really, really know the person that you are getting to know before you can actually commit such a big, big deal. Because it is, life changing. It's a complete different world. And it's hard to get to know somebody anyway, let alone them being on the other side of the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big change. Just be ready for, I would say, be ready for a big change and ask yourself if you're actually ready to make that change.
Right. In
Yeah.
terms of the process and the financial aspects of it, what could you tell them?
Um, Gosh, just save up and be prepared because it's a stickler. it's
Mm-hmm.
it's costly. So save your pennies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what can you say about the immigration process here in the UK?
um, I think it's getting harder and harder, I believe. I've spoken to other people, and I think that the process is getting a little bit harder. So just baby steps and take it as it comes because it can get stressful. Um, but inevitably you'll go through it and you'll be fine.
Would you still suggest or encourage people who are thinking to move here to do that?
Definitely. Yeah, why not? The ash cloud was
Yeah.
happening when my wedding was happening. So we were getting married in California, and my now husband was in England. And it was days before the wedding. It was the week before the wedding the ash cloud happened. I don't know if you remember. That was in 2012.
Mm.
And there was planes left and right. They were all, everything had stopped.
Where was it?
The ash cloud was
The,
in,
the wedding. Did you have it here or there?
it was in California.
Mm.
So it was at my parents'. They have a really big farm, and so we were having our wedding there. Um, they canceled his flight 3 times, and first time it was fine. Second time I was okay with it. By the third time I started panicking. Um, and he said, I'll get there. So they had canceled his family's tickets as well because his family was coming down. And in the end, he had to take a ferry, a bus, a small plane to take him to, I think it was somewhere in the middle of the US. And then from there, and then from there, he flew to Ontario, California.
Which is
So I
far.
picked him up there, but the ash cloud finally stopped and his family were able to fly in. So I went to pick his family up from LAX at midday and then picked him up at midnight. So he got to me after his family because he had to go around it in a roundabout way. But I mean, he couldn't miss the wedding. They were okay if they had missed the wedding, but he couldn't miss the wedding.
You were already tired before the wedding itself, like
Oh,
driving.
definitely. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was quite chaotic. They left his because he had to switch so many times, they'd left his luggage. So
Mm.
his luggage got stuck in one of the airports, and so we didn't get his luggage until the following day. Um, we
Mm.
had to drive over to the local hall so that
Mm.
we could get our marriage registration there.
Right.
Um,
What was the theme? What was like the theme of your wedding?
it was just red and white country roses. Yeah.
Nice. I want to see it. I'm gonna browse your Facebook and look at your photos.
Yeah. If you look at my Facebook, you'll probably find him at some point there.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so
Mm.
we went to the registration to get our marriage registration, and in a pen and paper in writing, it said, "Very sorry, closed for the day."
Oh
So we had to drive to the next city and get married
no.
in
Hmm.
Moreno Valley. We ended up getting the registration in Moreno Valley, yeah, because they were open. But oh, it's just chaotic, one thing after the other. And I never took it as a bad sign. I
No,
just
of course.
we just went with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a
what
struggle.
was your? I missed to ask this earlier. What was your family's reaction when you told them about him? Let alone when you said that you were serious about it, and the same way as his family. What was the reaction? You met someone in
Um, I think initially when we met, they just thought, "Oh, that's nice, not a big deal."
it.
And then when we started getting actually serious, I think for my parents it was quite bittersweet, because they adore him. He can do no wrong. Everything is like picture perfect with him when it comes to my parents. But at the same time, they were taking their little girl, very bittersweet. But in the end, they thought, as long as you're happy, it doesn't matter where we are. And then
Right.
now, technology, you can see me, I can see you. We can be, anywhere. I speak to my parents on a daily basis. Coming to this country, if you're going to build a family here, I couldn't think of any better place to build a
Mm,
family. So
mm.
yeah, I would definitely say do it.
I think you mentioned it earlier, but I want to ask you again. So, is this? Could you say that this is your home now?
This is home now for me.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
Took a while, but it's home now.
Would you say yourself as you are an immigrant or you're an expat?
I say I'm an expat. I
Hmm.
still say I'm an expat.
Okay. And one day you're thinking subconsciously that you're moving back to California.
I don't know. I think it's not so much that I'd say that I'd move back, maybe when we're older and retired, maybe. But it's more of that sense of being American. I mean, we hold that with high regard, don't you? It's something that's in you that you're born with.
Mm,
It's very difficult to get out of you. You can't, like, what do they say? You can take the American girl out of America, but you can't take the America out of the girl.
yeah, that's true. All right. Thank you so much, Anna, for the time that you've given us and for your story.
It's
You
okay.
actually decided to share your story. Yeah, good luck to anything else that you wanted to do here in the UK. And well done. Congratulations. This is your home now.
Thank you.
That's all for today. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in and for staying with me for this 2 hour show. Till next Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. only here on Love the Beat Radio, LDBR. For stories and suggestions, please email me at effiebarker@gmail.com. And please don't forget to follow and subscribe me on Facebook, Instagram, X, SoundCloud, Spotify, and my YouTube channel, Effie Barker.